All right, we're going to wait a few minutes as usual as people filter into the room. Not too long, so we have a lot of content here today, but maybe about 60 seconds or so. As everyone's filtering into the room, I hate the question like, "Where are you from?" And everybody always does that. Like, where are you from? And type in your town or city. I want to know, I want to know if you are winding down for the rest of the year for the holidays, or are you ramping up? And there is no right or wrong answer here. Both answers are correct.
Ah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, I always find that this is the time that you have to start like really digging into your next year, right? Like we've got to make sure that we're jump starting January. So
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of ramping up, full speed ahead. That's right. Yep, prepping. I just saw somebody's on here from Virginia Beach. Hello, me too.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
All right.
Ramping up for the new year.
While you're reading through that, I'll get the deck ready to go.
Yeah.
And are you seeing
You,
the
s-
appropriate screen, Tiffany?
I am seeing the well,
Well, it's not quite the appropriate screen.
no,
That's the
it's not
appropriate
quite the
screen.
appropriate screen. That's it. There we go. Now I am.
Good deal. Good deal. Any other comments in the chat? Because I think we should just kick it off. We got a lot of
It
content to
looks,
cover.
yeah, it looks like most everybody is ramping up. So I'm glad to see you guys aren't going to sleep. I hope you still take a little break and enjoy your family for the holidays. But we're all ready to kick off 2025. So yeah, let's get into it, Steve.
All right, welcome everybody. Before we do the official introductions, let's go over a few statistics first. 36%, Tiffany, what's the relevance or significance of that number?
So 36% are sellers that found their agent first online.
So that makes sense, right? More and more people are
Yeah.
finding their agents online. Can you tell me what percentage of sellers connect with agents due to past relationships? And this is in 2024, and this is based off of the recent Zillow Consumer Housing Survey.
So I mean, if I'm taking a guess, I'm thinking it's 50, 60%. It's got to be a lot, right? That people had a relationship and worked with their agent before.
That's what you would think, and that's how we set you up to be wrong in this in this answer here
Oh,
for this presentation. It's 8%, but this was super surprising to me, right?
yeah, that
I've
is
been in the
surprising.
industry a long, long time in the real estate tech industry, and this number just keeps on going down. And it's like, whoa,
Yeah, I mean,
why is
look,
this?
23% in 2018.
Yeah, so it's significantly dropping. We have more and more people finding their agent online, and that's exactly why we wanted to do the webinar here with you all today to give you a step-by-step process for lifecycle marketing that's going to help you buck the trend and not fall prey to the statistic that you see here on the screen. And speaking of 26 years, my name is Steve Pacinelli, and I'm the chief marketing officer for Follow Up Boss. I've been in the real estate tech industry and this is, I was just thinking about this today, for 26 years. I feel so old right now. It'll be 26 years in January. And it's like, wow, like time goes by in a in a flash. But it's just crazy. I've always loved the real estate community. I've always been a part of the real estate community. Now, I've never been an agent, and that's why we have Tiffany on board here today. So we get the technology perspective, and then we get the true in the trenches agent perspective for the topic that we're talking about. Tiffany, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah. So I am Tiffany Gelzinis, and I have the privilege of being the Realtor-in-Residence for Follow Up Boss. But I also run a team of agents out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. So I am a team leader and the Realtor-in-Residence for Follow Up Boss.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, let's kick this off now that we did the niceties and the intros. Why is lifecycle marketing so important? Why are we talking about this today? We already alluded to this a bit, but basically we want to ground ourselves in what we mean by lifecycle marketing, and that is the right message at the right time to the right person done consistently. And we're going to go through what we believe the life cycle is. Tell us about the right message, Tiffany.
Yeah, so it's more and more important to stay in front of those past clients, right? And to make sure that you're the person that they go to, even though that trend is working downward. So that right message, when they log in, when they're doing research online, what are they looking at? They're looking at their home value, their Zestimate. They're looking at what homes have sold around them. So make sure that we're sending them items of value, things that they want to be seeing. That is really important.
And we're going to define those items of value and give you a framework, a literal framework for deciding if the message you are about to send is going to hit home or not, which is really exciting.
Right. So this graph here, this is from the Teams report, which was done this past year or finalized this past year. And it was a collaboration between Tom Ferry, T360, and Real Scout. And this graph shows the percentage of business, like where their deals were coming from the teams that were surveyed. So if you can look at this, it's a substantial amount of business that comes from your sphere of influence and referrals. And that's going to include your past clients. So 25 to 30% of your business comes from sphere influence and referrals. Yet, what we saw in those statistics is that the people that are using an agent that they have experience with is trending downward. So
Mhm.
it's more and more important to stay in front of those people. And then also, don't forget about the other 70 to 75% of your business that might be coming from other lead sources. All of these frameworks and tactics that we're going to talk about today can be used both for your past client business or referral business, but also for your lead gen database as well.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the statistics that we're seeing here on the screen right now, these are teams. And in general, like and there are plenty of great solo agents out there, 100%. But if you can scale and build a team, chances are you have systems and processes that are going to help you execute more smoothly. And so that's why you see a slight discrepancy. But we wanted to add both numbers because it provides context, right, to the overall
Right.
situation that everyone is currently dealing with. I want to talk
Yeah.
to you. Oh, go ahead, Tiffany. Did you want
No,
to add
I was
something?
going to say, I mean, everybody knows what a real estate funnel looks like, right? Like it's that, that pyramid, upside down pyramid where leads go in the top and transactions come out of the bottom, right? But it like that's not the funnel that we're going to talk about today. That's not the funnel that's going to protect this very important segment of your business. So let's get into the life cycle funnel. And Steve, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, the funnel where the transactions come out the bottom and then the future business goes to die because it's not represented anywhere in the funnel. So yes, we
Right.
all know the typical funnel. Now let's take that funnel, let's move it on its side. And that's what you see here on the left-hand side of your screen in the rapport and relationships section. It's hard to say. And yes, that is your typical sales funnel until you reach contract. You have awareness. The person is thinking about selling their home, and then they're educating themselves on the home sale process or the home buying process. And then they're choosing their real estate agent in the selection process. And then they sign that contract. And the typical sales funnel that you look at would say that, okay, now the transaction is done. Now you are done. But in real estate, it's totally different. And it helps to ground us in a better framework as you teach this, if you're on a team to the rest of your agents, as you think about your own marketing and you think about it in terms of this funnel, you know that the right side of the funnel, and this is the bow tie funnel, is even more important than the left side a lot of the times, most of the times for a lot of agents, especially if you are a high performing agent, because after that contract is signed, you have the buying or the selling process, but then you have the closed transaction, and then you have what we call the growth loop. And so that is your repeat and referral business because those happy customers beget new customers. And that's the premise of today's webinar. How do we generate a continuous flow of repeat and referral business while finding new listings in our database? And so staying in touch, sending the right message at the right time to the right person, and then they share that with someone else, and then you get a referral. And that starts right there from the selection phase to contract to close, and it happens all over again. Or the full life cycle, marketing funnel. The repeat business happens there, or you can go the full funnel, where you're referring someone else and then they go through their own version of the bow tie funnel. So we would love it if, in general, and I would love to hear your opinions if you want to type it into the chat while we're going. Have you guys heard of the bow tie funnel before? Have you thought about your real estate funnel? Did your funnel end right there at the contract, or do you have a new way or a different way of representing your personal funnel? Because we're going to come back to this throughout the presentation when we go through the specific strategies for each stage of the funnel. And we want to give you a visual to ground yourself in that funnel. Oh, good. We got a
Well, and I
lot of
know
you.
as agents, yeah, lots of people just now hearing about it. I know as agents, we've all heard about this bow tie funnel internally because we all get really excited when that growth funnel starts to come into play and our phone rings and says, "Hey, so and so gave me your number and said that I should work with you to buy my house." So we all love the growth cycle. Now let's figure out how to deploy it in our businesses a little bit more.
Yeah, so now we're going to get into the real meat and potatoes content of the presentation. Tiffany is going to walk us through the beginning here. And our goal isn't to keep you here for a full hour. We want to get you out of here in about 40 to 45 minutes. So why don't we just kick it off, Tiffany?
Yeah, sounds good. Well, we're going to go through three steps. We're going to go through how to identify the right people in your database. Hopefully, you guys all currently have a database that you're working. And then how to generate the content that's going to resonate with those people, depending on where they're at in that life cycle funnel. And then the who, what, and when. So, what's going out, when it's going out, and who it's going to. So, we're going to just help you to deploy this entire process in your business. So let's jump into my amazing artwork. All right. This is your database. All right. Now, statistically speaking, a little more than half of your database are homeowners. Now, we might not know which half. We might not know who's a homeowner already and who isn't. They may have an address and they may not. But let's divide this half into kind of what it would look like in an ideal world. So you're going to have that segment of your database that's your new. So that's going to be your recent past clients, right? Then you're going to have a segment of your database that is ready to sell. They've given some indication whether it's a new lead coming in as a seller, or maybe they've interacted with a home value report that you've sent out. And then you're going to have that segment in the middle that's all your other homeowners, right? And our goal here is to figure out how to take all the other homeowners and even the new homeowners and move them through this funnel. And so we're the first to know when they are ready to sell. So let's talk about how to, first of all, make sure that our data is intact. And second of all, we'll jump into what to say when and how to run that process. So this is the easiest way to find sellers in your database. And it's surprising to me how often we don't have complete databases. If you have past clients that are in your CRM that do not have an address, then you don't have valid data that you can work. This is a filter that we can run in Follow Up Boss. If you're not a Follow Up Boss user, I'm sure that there's a way that you can run this filter in your CRM. But for
Maybe.
us, maybe not. I mean, if you're not with Follow Up Boss, we'll tell you how to talk to us about that. But how I run my stages, I have a stage called Past Client. So I'm going to run my stage of Past Client, and then I'm going to look for people that are addresses empty. So if that address is empty, then I need to go back. I need to look at my transaction data, and I need to fill in the blanks, right? And you can do this piecemeal. You can do it a few at a time if you don't have all the data in there, but it is important to have a complete database so that you can properly work your system or your sellers, right? And then let's talk about how to find some new opportunities in your database.
Yeah, and I want to
Can you
know
go to,
while you're
yeah, go
while you're
ahead.
getting to the new ones, how many people have run this search in their database before? Because if you want a database to generate sellers, you need to have addresses. If you don't have addresses, you don't have a seller's database and you will struggle. And the examples we're going to show you require you to have an address. So how many people have run this search before? Have you done it recently? Give us your thoughts, Tiffany. Keep on going.
Yeah. How many of you guys are running this right now? You have Follow Up Boss and you just went to that screen and you're running the search right now. Yeah. Okay. People are doing that. All right,
Nice.
running
We
it
got a
now.
bunch.
Yep. See, I knew, because that's what I would be doing as an agent right now. I'd be like, hold on a second, that's an idea. Let me look at this. Home address, Nick. Looking for home address. So address is empty because we need that home address so we can send content. All right, so let's go into the identifying new opportunities. How many of you guys have ever been calling through people in your database and they say to you, "Hey, I already bought a house." Oh, yeah, not good. They already bought a house and they didn't use you. So it's a missed opportunity, right? So throw them in the trash. No, you don't throw anybody in the trash. There's no such thing as trash in your database. So don't do that. So you find those people that have already bought a house. Those are your future sellers. Those are future sellers for you, right? Because you can jump in and be that agent that keeps in touch. So we have a stage in our database that's called bought with another firm. It might sound really disappointing at first, but it's our cue to look for those people in the future. So this is a filter again that we can run. Address is empty. Stage includes any of bought with another firm. However you categorize those, whether it's a tag or maybe you need to go through your trash bin. But anyway, however you categorize them, go and find those opportunities that already bought with another firm. And then you can do a few different things with them, right? So you can use a system like Fellow or Ylopo Seller Reports or Real Scout, any of those systems that are going to go in and kind of do some automated nurture for you and try to get the sellers to engage to provide their address. Or you can get gritty and you can do this yourself. So here's an example of an email that you could send out. And I like to use a little bit of humor in my email because I am trying to I'm trying to solicit a response, right? So I'm going to say, hey, let me be your neighborhood gossip. Everybody likes to see what their neighbor's house sold for. You want a copy of my nosy neighbor report, and I'll let you guys read this email. But here's the thing, if you don't like this framework, you don't like this content, that's okay, because we're also going to give you the framework to create your own version of this email. The value there, and can you hit the click button, Steve? The
Yeah.
value here is not working? Okay. Yeah. So we put it all together in a formula for you, right? So you can use that email if you want. Hopefully you took a screenshot. Or you can use this formula and hey, guess what? You can also just plug this formula into ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to write you an email, which by the way is how I started the email that was on here before. And then I tweaked it to make it my own a little bit. But you
Mhm.
can use this formula to create your own content to move forward. Steve, you got
Couple,
anything to say about that?
yeah, a couple of things. One thing is I was being so diligent and responding to so many messages. And then Rebecca just told me that I'm only sending it to panelists and folks. So I apologize. I was responding to messages while Tiffany was talking, and you would think this was my first Zoom that I've ever done in my life. So that's embarrassing. And then number two, a couple people want to screen grab that, so I'm just going to go back quickly
Yeah.
so they can catch a screen grab. If you're on a Mac, that's Command Shift 4 if you're on a Mac, and that will allow you to screen grab the portion of the screen that you want. Anybody know what it is for a PC, for those of you that
I
don't
was
know?
just going to say, and if you're not on a Mac, then I'm sorry, we can't help you today.
Well, I can't help you, but I'm sure there's someone on the webinar that can. Oh,
Command
there it
Shift
is.
3. There we go. All right. Good job. Thanks, guys.
Hopefully everybody got that. If not, we can swing back to it at the end of the webinar because we have a ton of other content that we're going to share here with you all. Tiffany, keep going.
Yeah. So once we've kind of we've filled in some of our gaps, we've gotten some of our data put together, we're going to go back and kind of address those three segments, right? So remember we had talked about our new our our new leads that are potential future sellers, right? So the new category, we talked about the everybody else, all the other homeowners category, and then we've got the ready to sell. So let's talk about those new leads first, right? So when we have a closing, and this is an example of just a really simple automation that you can run in Follow Up Boss. You have a closing, you change the stage to closed, or in my case, I would change it to past client. You can add a tag that's homeowner year one, and it's going to plug it into a smart list for you and remind you to call them once a quarter. So, what are we talking about? And then I also just put a little screen grab of what the filter is that we run for that smart list. But what are we going to talk to them about in those first four phone calls, right? When we're calling to check in on our past clients, this is our opportunity to build on that rapport that we built with them while we were in that transaction, right? To maintain that relationship. We're not calling them to say, do you want to know the value of your home? I don't think they do right now. They just bought it. They don't care 3 months after they bought their house that their house has dropped in value $3,000, that actually they might have a panic attack, or maybe it's increased $3,000, but who knows? Like it doesn't really matter so much because they're not thinking about selling. they may still be interested in receiving reports about that, but you want to ask them questions like, how are things going? Did you guys figure out where you're going to put your Christmas tree? Like, I know we talked about it while we were looking at the house, but where did you decide? What window are you putting it in front of? Have those conversations that build those relationships during the first year of their home ownership, right? And then after that, we're going to maintain that cadence of communicating with them once a quarter. So every 3 months, we're reaching out to our past clients so that we are staying in touch. And the reason that we're doing that is going to go right back to this bow tie funnel, right back to this life cycle funnel. And it's the staying in touch part because that's how we get implicit signals. Now, you're going to hear me talk about implicit signals and explicit signals. This is your implicit signals. When you're staying in touch with your past clients once a quarter, you are having conversations with them. They're telling you that they're expecting another baby. They're telling you that their last kid just graduated from high school. They're telling you that they're getting ready to retire from their job, right? All of these could be signals that they may be thinking of making a move in the near future. That is an implicit signal, okay? And we only get those signals by staying in touch with our past database. And then you know whether or not you need to increase the frequency of your communication. Now let's talk about explicit signals, right? Explicit signals surface opportunities within your database. This can come in the form of people that have interacted with a home valuation report, people that have requested a showing. If somebody in your database has requested a showing on another listing and they bought a house with you 3 years ago, that might be a pretty good sign that they're thinking about selling. All of these examples in this top of this graphic here are tags that can be included on your leads using Follow Up Boss from some of our integration partners when those leads interact with those types of reports. You can then filter those out to create lists of people that are giving you those explicit signals that they may be wanting to move in the future, right? So then we can take all of that information and customize our communication strategy, right? Steve, can you go to the next slide?
Yep.
So this is where we get to the bottom of that seller funnel, right? Or the middle of our bow tie funnel, if you will. But this is the ready to sell category. We take those implicit signals and the explicit signals, and we can customize our communication strategy. And we can utilize what's called a time frame using Follow Up Boss. And that time frame will actually count down for you. Now, there are a lot of people on this call that already said that they are using Follow Up Boss, and I want people to tell me whether or not they are using time frame as a feature because it's a relatively new feature,
New.
and I am curious if anyone is using it. What is time frame? No, just started. No, didn't know existed. Okay, all right. I'm going off script, Steve. I'm sorry about it. All right,
All right.
time frame. Here is the difference between using the field time frame and using a stage to create your smart lists. If you use the time frame field, you can also run filters on when that field was added. So you could say that this field was added, or the time frame is coming up in less than 30 days, right? So if your time frame that you added was 12 months and you have a filter that says time frame is coming up in less than 30 days, it's going to give you those people that said they were 12 months out, it's going to give them to you at 11 months. Or maybe you wanted it 90 days out. So this is a dynamic field that changes and updates over time versus a stage that only changes when you go in and manually change it. So this is going to rock your world once you start using it. I promise. And maybe we'll do a video and post it in the community about how to create some of those smart lists. All right, let's see.
All right.
What's up next? That was my tangent. Sorry, guys.
No, no, no. I got, I got it. I'll flow into the next topic because what Tiffany did there is we went over quickly. Of course, we could spend an entire day on that topic and database management, making sure that your database is clean and sanitary and you have the right information. So then you can send the right message to the right people because you have those people identified appropriately, tagged appropriately, and updated, as Tiffany was saying. So some of the things that Tiffany talked about over the last 5, 7 minutes or so, she was actually giving you real content and executing. And she was using a lot of the framework that we are about to cover here with you. But we're going to give that framework a name and we're going to give you a process that you can look at every single marketing piece that you create and you can say, is this going to be relevant and valuable to my recipient? And then it's a filter that you can put your marketing through and decide yes or no. And then we're going to give you a bunch of different examples of each filter, each layer. There's only 3 reasons why someone wants to hear from you. 3 reasons and 3 reasons only. So if you're reaching out to someone, it better fall within one of these categories. If it does not, and I'm gonna give you a phrase I've been using for years. I used to work at a video messaging platform before I came over to Follow Up Boss, and we used to say this all the time. Every message you send someone trains them on whether or not they should open your next message, whether they should answer your next phone call, whether they should read your next text message or watch your next video. You are training everyone based off of every message you send. So if you send 3 messages in a row, where the value is for you and the value isn't for the recipient, you are teaching them really quick to ignore all of your subsequent messages. So that's an important concept to understand. The 3 reasons why someone wants to hear from you, you see them right here on the screen: emotional value, insight value, or tangible value. Emotional value is you're giving someone emotional, it's the word I'm looking for. I just lost it. You're making someone feel good. Let me rephrase. You're making someone feel good. You're reaching out to them. You're showing them that you see them, you hear them. If you can, show them that you understand them. If it's their birthday, Tiffany mentioned a new baby. Like all the things that she was saying before, these are emotional value adds. If you reach out and you say, "Oh my God, I just saw that your son got into such and such a college on a soccer scholarship. That's absolutely amazing. I know we haven't chatted in a while, but when I saw that on Facebook, I had to send you a text." That is emotional value. They feel good. It's their son. You reached out, you're associating yourself with those positive feelings. Insight value is when you give someone information that they previously didn't have before. Obviously, this could be a ton of different real estate information, a variety of different, points in real estate information, or anything else. And we're going to go over examples of that too. And then tangible value, we're going to use the term tangible a little bit more loosely. In this case, tangible is something that you can actually physically feel, and it's going to be close enough, but we're going to give people value that they can grab onto and tangibly feel. So these are the 3 different categories. We're going to go through each one, starting with emotional value. And emotional value, the examples that we're going to give or walk through will be social. Because Tiffany, before you were talking about like, hey, you found out this information. That's information you'd want to put into the CRM. And you were talking about how to leverage that. And people put their entire lives on
Facebook,
yeah,
Instagram, etc.
yeah, wherever. It doesn't make a difference. Their lives are on there. They're telling you what they're doing. They think that everyone else cares. Some people actually do care. But it's your job as a relationship expert to care what your clients are doing and what they're thinking and how you can help them, whether or not they're ready to move today or tomorrow. Your visibility trumps your ability. And the more that you can be seen and heard, the better off your business is going to be because you only get a chance to showcase your ability if you have visibility in the first place. So let's talk about emotional marketing. Now we'll go with the Pareto principle here, the 80-20 rule in social media. There's a lot of social media influencers, a lot of them in real estate, where all they do is just post about themselves and they're highly successful and they post about their business, but they just have something to them. They have that pizzazz. They love it. They post continuously and people follow them. That is a very small percentage of people. Can some people be successful doing that? Absolutely. Will most people be successful just posting about themselves? Absolutely not. And so we like to teach the 80-20 principle. 80% of the time when you're on social media and when you're making connections and when you're doing your due diligence, looking at your customers and seeing what they're doing, you should be engaging with what they're saying. When they post about their life, when they post about the Christmas tree or the holiday event that they just went to, That's when you come in and you like it. And even a simple like can be valuable. But you can comment on those posts, etc. We want to create that emotional connection with people. I was going to use the post by Dale Carnegie that everybody knows, you'll make more friends by being interested in other people by trying to get them to be interested in you. And that's a great one. But I'm going to go with Robin Sharma here. Success in business and life is about human connections, helping people feel good and being genuinely interested in them. If you get on social media and you're providing emotional value by showing that you're interested in them and commenting and even changing, this is key. A lot of people will just comment in the Facebook feed. But if you want to go the extra mile, you take that into a different medium and into a different format. If you want to really stand out and you see it's their birthday on Facebook, send them a text message where they didn't get 7,000 other birthday messages. Then you'll get a response, and you never know, you might spark up a conversation. So, media mixing is extremely important and a valuable tool that I know a lot of realtors are using. What am I missing, Tiffany? Anything? Or am I
No, I
good?
was going to say, I have an example of that just happened yesterday with me. I was scrolling the book, and that's one thing you've got to be intentional about your time on social media as well. And we're all so guilty about that. But I was scrolling and I happened to notice that a past client found out that they were expecting a baby. And I switched mediums. I sent him a text message. And I mean, one, I was truly excited for him, but also it stood out more than just liking a post or making a comment on that post, but being like, hey, I just saw your post on Facebook. Congratulations. I'm really excited for you guys. So standing out that way, connecting,
Mhm.
and that also that makes them want to connect back with you, makes them want to look specifically at what you're doing instead of just running through your feed. Like, how are your kids doing? What's happening with you?
Before we get to insight value, which is the next slide, do want to just say, like, if you 80% of the time, if you are engaging in the way that Tiffany just described, you're using some of the tips that we gave, and you are visible in front of your prospects and your clients, then yeah, post about that new listing, especially if it's excited, especially if it has entertainment value, because entertainment value falls within emotional value. And so if you have a great new listing that has like the most amazing kitchen or backyard that everybody's going to comment about, that's entertainment value. That is emotional value that you are providing. Everything falls within those three categories. And there's 6 ways that we've identified to stand out. So when you're ready to make that post about you, about that listing, if you tell a story, telling a story is a great way to bring people in. Oh, I have them here. Hold on one second. I'm going to go on a tangent. One of my favorite things, and I have nothing to do with this company. My testimonial is on the homepage because I love them so much. But if you want to tell great stories in your marketing, there's something called PIP decks, PIPDECKS, PIP decks. And they're so easy. They're 52 simple cards, and it gives you like a 3-step process or a 5-step process on the back of each card, which is so simple and easy to follow to tell great stories and create great marketing. And it's all broken out into different categories and color coded. I use these things, as you can tell, they're right next to my desk all day long. If you're looking for great ways to tell great marketing stories, storyteller tactics from Pip Decks. Make no money if you buy that. So tell a story, focus on value. We're talking about value right now. We'll skip over that. Everybody knows that number 3, eye-catching visuals are important. There's so many great tools out there. We're not going to spend time there because I want to get to the actual messaging. But I do want to pause for a second and say, be authentic when you're posting online. You're going to hear gurus and everybody else tell you, you need to do it this way. You need to do it this way. And if it doesn't feel like you, if that is not your personality, then do not do that. It's going to come across as unauthentic, and you're not going to make the connections that you want. Incorporate testimonials. That's social proof. That's the Robert Cialdini, principles. And engage, ask questions. This is one of the things that I see that agents miss the most a lot when I scroll through my social feed. They'll have a great new listing that they're talking about, and then it will just end, or it'll say, if you're interested in this listing, which is only going to be a like 0.001% of the people that you're talking to because they're not ready to move, they'll end with a question or a CTA that's for such a small group of people when they could have ended with a question at the end of that listing that says, do you love this farmhouse kitchen or is a contemporary style more your speed? That's a question that gets everybody engaged because it allows them to supply their opinion. So, this is how we create great emotional value. It's easy to do it on social. Let's talk about a different type of value. Which one are we going to talk about now, Tiffany? It is,
We're going into insight value, and we've already touched on insight value, but we're going to dive in even deeper on it.
yeah, we have one example for this one. And this example is killer. I met Jimmy Burgess, I don't know, like 9 years ago, a long time ago. Jimmy used to use a video messaging product that I was a part of previously. And he shared a strategy with us when I was over at BombBomb. And the strategy worked like it worked like nothing else that I've ever heard of at that particular time before. And I want to share with you the step-by-step process that he used in 5 minutes a day to generate $11 million of new listings, $9 million of total sales the quarter after he implemented this strategy. And so I'm going to walk you through. So, insight value, we know what that is. It's providing some knowledge or insight that they might not have. And that's what he's doing in this strategy. It's going to take you 5 minutes a day. I'm going to play a video here first to give you an idea for what it feels like. And then I'll walk you through exactly how he's executing and why he did the things that he did. I'm not going to play the whole video. I'm going to jump around a bit, but it should give you a decent view of the strategy here. Let's click play.
Hey, Carrie, Jimmy Burgess with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services down at the beach. Just wanted to check in with you guys. I hope you had a great summer. Been about 6 months since I let you know kind of an update on where we are and where your condo's value is. So just want to give you a quick, brief update. So let me kind of go through some of these things, some of these sales that have happened recently that have come on the market, and the lack of activity actually past sale. And when we go back over here to this list and move it.
So I just wanted to give you a quick feel.
Hey, Carrie,
Oh,
Jimmy Burgess.
and I'm going to walk you through what he does and why he does it. He calls this the unsolicited CMA. He takes a video messaging platform. There's free ones out there. You don't even have to pay for it. But BombBomb is a good platform if you have a BombBomb system. And he does a screen recording. And he puts up two things on his screen. He puts up an aerial view of the client's home, of his customer, future client, prospect, puts an aerial view of their home up, and then goes into the MLS and brings up some local data around their property. That's the preparation that he does. Then he chose one person a day. He ended up sending 72 emails over a 90-day period. And only with that single email a day, he would send a message, and you heard it in the beginning. And a lot of times in his video, he would say, hey, Tiffany, I wanted to reach out. I know you're not interested in selling your home anytime soon, but as a value add, every 6 months, I'm going to send you this updated home report, quick video format. Let me walk you through to tell you what I'm talking about. And he'll preface it with that. And then he provides some insight and some data, some information that they probably, this is what we're talking about, insight data that they do not have. And it takes them a couple minutes of preparation to look up both the property address and some of the MLS data. Or if you have another tool, you can look it up in the other tool, et cetera. And then you just speak to it. You spend 1 to 2 minutes. It's quick, it's not long. You give them some basic information about what's happening in the neighborhood, and then you end it with, yeah, and I know, you've been in your home for 5 years now, so you might be ready or you might not be ready, and that's totally okay. I'll send you another report here in 6 months. You set it up in the follow-up boss to remind you to do it in 6 months, and you send that personal touch. What you'll find is you start off with the Google aerial view because that instantly tells that person that this is not a marketing message. Marketing messages are your downfall. When someone receives an email in their inbox and it has pretty graphics and pictures all over the place, they know that that went out to 1,000 other people. When you send someone an email, or you can do this in text, and they see their home right there on the email and it's an aerial view, the alerts don't instantly go off anymore. Their alert goes off that this is a personal message that's just for me, and they're thinking, what the heck is this all about? And they click play, and now you just teleported yourself and got in front of them, and now you're speaking to them about real estate. watch your replies go through the roof. And they might not be ready to move now, but that starts conversations with someone that they just talked to last week that they might want to refer. And now you reminded yourself, and now you're not a part of that 8% statistic that we shared earlier. What did I miss there, Tiffany?
That's right. Well, I was going to say, think about how easy this is too. He didn't go through and do a whole bunch of preparation and, worry about what's happening with the data. He pulled it up and then he spoke to that data. It shows your expertise in the market. You guys can all do this. You pull up your MLS and you say, "Hey," I mean, and he said it at the beginning of the video, or lack of data. Like, how
Yeah,
impactful is
yeah.
that? There's really actually a lack of sales like your home here. So I'm just letting you know that this is what's going on. But definitely the part where, he's giving an introduction at the beginning is personal, the screen share of the aerial view, and then going through, there's no preparation for this. Just speak. It shows your professionalism and it provides massive value to your database.
Absolutely. So there it is. That's some of the insight value. And so now we're going to close this out on tangible value. And we got a significant amount of content here for this section because there's a lot to go over. And we're excited to share some simple ways that you can provide tangible value, not only to your past clients, but also to some potential new leads. This is one of my favorite phrases. Where do you outperform the norm? This can be the cornerstone of your marketing strategy as a real estate agent. Everything that you do, you should be thinking about, where do I outperform the norm? What's everybody else doing? And you can look at this from a perspective of actions or statistically. So we can say, what statistics do I outperform the norm in? And what actions do I outperform the norm? So what am I talking about, Tiffany?
This is a personal thing, right? So it could be different for everybody. I like to call myself a data junkie. So I might be more inclined to give the statistics or the data of how we outperform another group or another team, the where we stack up against our competition. You might be more into social media. So maybe you outperform the norm by creating custom videos for all of your listings. How you outperform the norm is your own personal way of doing that. But how do you stand out? What is your unique selling proposition? And we have some examples to go through on this too. So, I mean, this slide starts with the statistics, right? So this slide starts with list price to sales price ratio. Our listings sell, and all of these are just examples, right?
Yeah,
Our
these are just
listings
made
sell
up,
for
by the way.
100, yeah, 107% of list price compared to the market average of 98%. We get X number of views per listing or X number of showings, how many transactions we've done a year, what percentage of the agent population we are, if you were to rank us, the number of satisfied clients that we have. Maybe it's going through just your Google reviews and showing, like, look at what people are saying about me. Maybe it's days on the market. Our listings sell 4 days faster than the market average. There's a lot of different ways that you can outperform the norm, but this is where you get into the nuts and bolts of what you do that's different than your competition.
Oh
Steve,
no,
you
you
want
caught me
to?
typing a message. I was going to
I
ask the
caught him
audience
typing a message.
where do they outperform the norm? What's something that you
Yeah.
lean on? You don't have to give the exact percentage or statistic there, but is it list price to sales price? Is it that you get more, views online? Is it your website? Is it the actions that you do or the videos that you create? There's so many different ways, but you need to identify that, keep a running list, and every time you outperform the norm, even if it's the norm of the last home that you sold, use that. That is your marketing ammunition to provide tangible value because when you outperform the norm here, what does the client get? Cash in pocket. So, Tiffany, here's your chance to brag. We got some people responding here in the chat. Where do you outperform the norm, and what do you do, Tiffany?
Yeah. So, I mean, we talked about some of the numbers, and there's definitely numbers that we could go through where we outperform the norm. But I want to talk about kind of some of the other value propositions that we add to a seller on a listing appointment. So one of the things that we do is we provide kind of like a choose your own adventure to our seller clients. So we have different programs that we can use that can provide a cash offer to a client or a renovate and then sell offer. It just depends. We all know that not every single seller wants to just maximize their price. Some of them want to hit the easy button. I mean, have you guys heard of CarMax? There's a reason why
Mhm.
they exist because people wanted to hit the easy button to sell their car. That's happening in real estate as well. And then we just added another tool to outperform the norm from a tools perspective, where instead of going that direction of maybe a cash offer or a quick sale, but this is a tool that we can use to really stand out from the crowd when it comes to how our listings are presented online. So this is through Showing Time Plus. This is a showcase listing, and only 10% of all listings can be showcase listings. So you're already going to stand out because of that. But I also want to talk to you about how you talk to your seller about this tool, right? So first of all, you're showing them this tool. You're showing them how beautiful the home looks online. It's an advantage to them that you are the only agent that is listed on the Zillow listing for this, right? Because all of
Mhm.
those inquiries are going to you and you're the expert versus going to some other buyer's agent or other agent that pays for leads that maybe doesn't know anything about the home, or worse yet, they don't answer the phone. So, what does the seller want? The seller wants those inquiries to come to you. And in addition to that, it's just providing so much valuable information to the consumer to make them want to call you up to go and see the property. So, I mean, you're seeing homes sell. I mean, Steve's got some stats on this, but homes are selling for more
Yeah.
money. They're selling faster. They're getting more views. And that's just really like a piece of tangible value that you can say, this is what's happening, and take a look at what this looks like.
Yeah, so Tiffany, you were telling me like you have all of your stats and you always go in when you go into a listing presentation or you're marketing online or on your website where you outperform the norm. And then you go in and be like, hey, we just added this new layer on top with even more statistics. And you're just beating down that value. Like, this is why you're going to choose me because you will get a tangible benefit of cash in pocket. The tangible benefit is your listing looking like this on the website that people visit the most. And so,
Right.
yeah, it's a great tool. Now, whether you showcase listings or not, I want to share a marketing follow up, and you can use this for outperforming the norm with or without Showcase. If you have Showcase, it's obviously a great tool. This is an example for Showcase. And the reason why we're talking about Showcase, just by the way, Tiffany and I did this presentation first at Zillow Unlock. And so it was a Zillow event, an Unlock event, and we gave this presentation and we had Showcase in there. So we were like, we'll just keep it in here because it's a cool product and it works. And we're seeing a lot of
And it's
great
a great
marketing ideas.
example.
And I'm going
Yeah.
to give you some marketing ideas from the Showcase Listing website here in a few moments that you're going to be able to rip off and duplicate for your reasons for your own marketing, if you have Showcase or not. So I love this is another opportunity to take a screen grab, by the way. So take a screen grab of what you see here on the screen. And this is a great example of offering tangible value to the rest of the neighborhood. So you just sold a home, right? This is your opportunity to outperform the norm. What did you do that was different for that property? How do you educate the rest of the neighborhood on what you did that was different? Tiffany gave you the nosy neighbor idea way in the beginning of this webinar. Now, here at the end, we're going to give you the printed flyer idea. We're going old school with the marketing. We're sending it to the rest of the neighbors. But I love some of the language here. Guess who helped your neighbor at 123 Main Street? That's right, it's me. Here's the scoop you won't find online. What value is that right there? What did we just do? We
You,
used
things they don't know, insight.
the insight value. So, like, it ties into the messaging right here. That's also called the curiosity gap. When you think about your marketing, how do you leverage the curiosity gap? Because it's like, oh, what can I find online? What do I need to know? That's what generates phone calls, emails, text messages, etc. And this is just a sample message like that. You can make this fit your own marketing there. But you can see that this person did use showcase listings and they were using those elements within that marketing piece. So now we have showcase to sell the home faster for more money, to win more listings, to find more listings. You can use it all across the board. I want to give you more. Oh, go
I want
ahead,
to go
Tiffany.
really quick. The other thing you can think about with that mailer is if you're using that information of just the statistics of what you did to sell a home in a neighborhood, you can use that QR code as a sign up form to register to stay in touch with what's happening in your neighborhood and receive a digital nosy neighbor report once a month or once a quarter or whatever. Like we'll keep you up to date on what happened with your neighbor's house. People want to know that stuff.
Yeah, and actually, someone just commented, maybe you can get Fubbers a discount on Zillow Showcase. Guess what? This morning, literally this morning, I sent a message to the folks over at Zillow, and I was like, "Hey, I'm doing this webinar," and they were like, "Yes, you can have a discount." I'll get to that slide in a second. I want to get to this is a value slide here, though, and I'll make sure everybody has a chance to scan the QR code. Or Tiffany, can you grab that link and then paste it
Yeah,
into the
no, for
chat too?
sure.
Because what
Absolutely. And
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say there's a lot of really amazing content on here. So I definitely don't want anyone to miss out on that.
Yeah, and like the example that I just shared with you, you're going to see a lot more examples like that that you can rip off and duplicate yourself and use for your own marketing material. So again, whether you have showcase listings or not, I highly recommend checking out the resource center and looking at the marketing because a bunch of very smart people put together a large breadth and depth of marketing materials that you can fill in your own information for. So hopefully everybody had a chance. If you don't, Tiffany, I think put the link in the
Yep, I'm going to put
chat.
it in the chat. Yep, it's
Okay,
coming.
we can scan it. All right, and before we give everybody the three takeaways here for this webinar, because we are winding down, if you are interested in Showcase, and as I mentioned, I reached out to the Zillow team this morning and was like, "Hey, I'm doing this webinar. If you want to offer something," and they said, "Yes, we will offer a discount. They have to, if you use that QR code that you see here on the screen that says Showcase, and you scan it, there'll be a form, and the person that gets in touch with you from the form will know that you are on the FUB webinar and the Lab Coat Agents webinar, and they will give you a discount on Showcase. I don't even know what it is. I don't sell Showcase, but hopefully it's
Nope.
good. And if you're interested in a free trial of Follow Up Boss, of course, you can scan that. We give free trials of Follow Up Boss. If you're looking to dive into the new year with a properly maintained database, a ton of features, and I just got off of a Z retreat or a retreat last week that went through all of the new features Follow Boss is getting in 2025. In my 26-year career, technology career in real estate, I've never been more excited about a future roadmap than I am for Follow Up Boss. The AI technology that is going to be deployed, and we already deployed some of it, in the AI transcriptions, but oh my goodness, it is going to blow your mind. And this stuff is starting to get released in Q1. So Follow Up Boss customers get excited because I've never been more excited for a product. And if you're not a customer, you can scan that QR code and find out. Tiffany, let's button this up here with one of my
Yep,
favorite
let's do
phrases.
it.
What's the phrase?
Be of value and abundance will follow. And that is 100% correct. Steve has it hanging on his wall. Look at that.
I
Right
do.
there. Value. I told him I want one. So we'll see if he actually sends me one. I don't know. Probably not, but
I'll get you on. I'll get you on. So that is a motto that the FUB marketing team and honestly, I would like the whole Follow Up Boss team to abide by, and I think that we are. And that's how we think about our business. If we can be of value to people, we know that abundance will follow in the future. That's why we want to give away as much value and insight as possible. That's why we chose the topic here today as well. And if you all think about it the same way and how you can be of value to people who are not ready to sell their home, not ready to buy their home, how you can reach out and provide that emotional value, insight value, tangible value, etc., then you are going to be on your path to success. We kind of distilled this presentation down into these three key themes, and it's be visible, be out there as much as you can, of course, but while you're out there, understand the value that you provide, and then the right time, right place, right person, which your CRM helps you
yeah,
do that.
that's right. You got to communicate it with the right message at the right time. But most importantly, understand that value and make sure that you can relay that to your database.
Now, I know I missed tons of messages, which I see them in there, and we can answer some questions. I know there was also very specific questions about like Follow Up Boss, and I saw something with importing contacts. I am I know the strategies, but I like Tiffany and I. Well, Tiffany actually knows a lot about Follow Up Boss more than I do. But unfortunately, we're not support. But that's one of the best features of Follow Up Boss. We have 7 day support, and it's here in the United States. You're not calling somewhere halfway across the world. And the support is fantastic. Hopefully, the people on the call here can vouch for fantastic support, but they can help you there. I see a lot of best CRMs. Thank you, Kelly. I
The
hope.
the
Oh,
other
go
thing
ahead.
I want to vouch for with Follow Up Boss is the value of our community. So if you are not a part of the Follow Up Boss success community on Facebook and you are a Follow Up Boss member, jump on that, search for that community because if you want to keep up to date with what's happening, with what the releases are, with how people are using the product, that is an amazing resource to stay in touch. So join us in the community. We'll make sure that you know what's going on with Follow Up Boss and not just what's happening, but how to use it.
Yep. I see people have other problems. How does Follow Up Boss, compare? A great thing to do is if you do scan that QR code and you sign up, you can just tinker around with it yourselves. But we actually have people that cannot even take your order if they wanted to sell you Follow Up Boss. They will reach out to you and they will help you with your Follow Up Boss, answer your questions, and you're not going to get hard closed because they can't even take your credit card if they wanted to. That's the difference with signing up with the Follow Up Boss free trial and other free trials that are out there. So I recommend just chatting with us. We can actually talk to you about your Follow Up Boss instance. I see there's a couple of hands up. If anybody, I have an option to allow to talk. So I will do that if Anna, Susan, or Greg Harvin, Susan, I don't want to butcher the names. I hate it when I have a name that gets
And
butchered all the time. So, but if you
ditto,
would, if,
ditto.
if you would like to ask the question live, just let me know in the chat, type it in the chat, and I will
And
answer
we
it right.
are told that yes, the recording of this will be put out. It'll be put out on YouTube as well as where else is this being published? I believe it was
Lab
YouTube
coat. Yeah, the
and Lab
lab
Coat
coat
Agents.
agents. And then well, we should get a recording of it as well, so we can.
Janelle says, and also in our community, another reason to join.
Oh, yeah, that's key. Yeah, Janelle's right. That's right. We have a link to the one of Jimmy Burgess. I don't have a link to that, like the video that he used, but I do think that example is online somewhere, or a version of that, because he's been doing it ever since, and he talks about it all the time. I still talk about it all the time. It's such a good strategy.
See what we can find.
So I'm gonna go. We will.
Yeah,
We
if
have.
you Google Jimmy Burgess video CMA, there are several examples.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Tiffany.
Of course.
What other questions do we have here? Because what time is it? We have 3 minutes. Let's see. I got some community stuff, people thanking Tiffany. And thank you, Tiffany, for being on here. It's so awesome. I just want to tell you
Absolutely.
one thing about Tiffany. Tiffany is a full-time agent and a part-time follow-up boss employee. And it's so awesome. I think this is part of why follow-up boss is so great because we have people like Tiffany that are actually in real estate that are a part of our meetings, she was with the product meeting that I was at last week, and she was there providing insight and feedback. And other companies, they just don't do that. It's a bunch of tech people or people like me, that may have been in the industry for a long time, but don't have all of the insights. And Tiffany's there providing guidance and a roadmap. And I truly believe Tiffany is one of the reasons why Follow Up Boss is a superior CRM. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Let's see. Great webinar. Thanks. Thank you both. Thank you. Got a lot of thanks here.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. We
Well, I think we're
are,
done.
oh my goodness. Joe
Oh.
Cicero. Joe Cicero. I just said your name out loud in this webinar. You just made me do it. So if anybody is wondering, Joe Cicero is an agent on my team. If you saw that comment,
Oh,
he
that's
wanted me to say he was
awesome.
my favorite, but I'm not going to do that.
That is really good. I give Joe
And
some
yes,
props.
a copy of the webinar will be published. So don't worry about that. Actually, yeah, Carrie is my favorite agent on my team. There you go, Joe. Just kidding. All right.
All right,
Glad to see you
everybody.
guys here. All right. Have a great day. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Enjoy your holiday season. See ya.